So now we're going to do sine law. Well, we're going to get to an actual example. This is where stuff is going to happen. So we're trying to find an angle. So this is going to be sine law. So it's going to be, we're going to put that on top. So it's going to be sine x over 17 equals sine of 51 over 20. So sine x equals 17 sine 51 over 20. And x is the inverse sine of 17 sine 51 over 20. So we're going to do 17 times the sine of 51 divided by 20, and then the inverse sine of that answer. Wait, I got a different, wait, did I do that right? Inverse sine of 17 times sine of 51 divided by 20. Yes, so I have x equals 41.3, which I'm going to say is just 41 degrees. And you're thinking, well, that wasn't that shabby. What's the problem with that? Well, what we have to think about is there's actually two answers, right? If the sine of x is equal to something and it's positive, then what we have is, of course, we have, because of the cast rule, we have an answer in the first quadrant and the second quadrant. And what happens is this 41 is our related acute angle. So we have our first quadrant answer, not too exciting, and our second quadrant answer. So that's 41, that's 41, and the angle here is going to be, which in this case is x, because we said that instead of theta I used x. So x is going to be 180 minus 41, which is 139. So we have two possible answers now. So what we know is we know that or x equals 139 degrees. Okay. Let's quickly figure out what the third angle is for each of those options. So we have our two triangles. I have them in black, didn't I? And there's the other one. So there's the two triangles. And we know that that's 51 degrees. We know that this is 17. We know this is 20. We don't really care too much about that. And now we're saying that x, which is over there, could be 41 or 139. So x could be 41 or x could be 139. Now we know that the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So the top angle over here would be 180 minus 51 minus 41. This angle would be 88. And this one would be 180 minus 139 minus 51. And this would be an angle of negative 10 degrees. We cannot have an angle of negative 10 degrees, which means that this angle cannot be 139. So we had two answers based on the cast rule, but the 139 creates an answer that doesn't make sense. So this is not actually possible. So what we find out is x equals 41 degrees is the only possible answer. And since that's the only possible answer, then what we do is when we figure out w, we're only going to use that. Right? So we know that if x is 41, then the top angle is 88. So we know that the top angle is 88. And then what we're going to say is we're going to say, okay, w over sine 88 equals 20 over sine 51. And so w equals 20 sine 88 over sine 51. And then we find out that it is, so W is equal to 25.7 units of whatever it is.